Ah, hello there, my friend. Welcome to the fire. Hmm, you know, if you have an issue with something, it's very hard to know unless you speak up. People aren't mind readers, you know. Player destroys a Curse of Strahd campaign the DM had been wanted to run for 5 years in one session. r/RPG horror stories posted by Zegarth. I would like to preface this because it's important to the story. This was an online group of friends that played over Discord, and before the first game this group ever played, Baldur's Gate Descent into Avernus, I made a channel in the Discord asking for players' sensitive topics so that I could avoid them while I ran the game. The problem player did not list the issue that would cause this game to fall apart in session 1. Also, I had been wanting to play this module for a very long time and finally had found people that wanted to try it. I had read the module book when it came out and had a campaign planned for that long as well, notes and all. Our party consisted of a gnome monk, Goliath barbarian, elf cleric, a Dhampir gunslinger, a pyromancer fairy, homebrew, and a Dhampir blaze savant, homebrew. I had managed to convince my wife, the blaze savant, to dress as a fortune teller and draw from a Taroka deck to set the mood and placement of key items and NPCs for the module. My players loved it. The parties started off responding to different adventure hooks that led them to being lost in the mist and only to find themselves in Barovia, surrounded by people they don't know. Some of the players' PCs were native to Barovia, like the gunslinger being that one. The players made their way from the mist to the first city, Barovia, where they handled the Death House. The gunslinger was running late due to work and missed that part. From here, they met the main female NPC and the gunslinger who had just got off of work. The moment the cleric had heard there was a character with guns, she lost it. She started yelling about how dare they bring guns into the game when they knew she was terrified of guns. Remember when I said that she didn't list something in the trigger chat? Yeah, she never mentioned that she had a gun-related trauma and just thought that we would automatically know. From there, it spiraled into her ranting and raving about how guns are evil, and she tried to guilt the player into dropping a character that he worked so very hard on making when I told them it was going to be Curse of Strahd that we played next. When I didn't let him and told her that this wasn't on her list of triggers, she left the chat and the game stopped there. About 2 days before the next session, she messaged me and the player asking him to not play that character, and when she was told no, she left a message in the chat for the whole group about how insensitive we were and how she will no longer play with us due to this behavior. She then left the chat. I then asked everyone if they wanted to keep playing, and to my dismay, they all said no. And that's how a player ruined a campaign that I planned for 5 years in one session. Edit. So, I can already see that I didn't explain this part very well. It's not that I told the gunslinger, no, you can't change characters. It's that he didn't want to change characters because he had been wanting to try the class since it came out and had worked very hard on it. She wasn't happy with the fact that I wasn't forcing him to change his character. And in the game before this, she had tried to force the gunslinger's character to fall in love with hers by using a magic spell, without both the DM or player consent, where to the extent that if he did not love her, they would both die. So, she has a prior history of being a problem player. TLDR, player had a gun-related trauma and thought the whole party knew despite telling no one about it, and ruined a Curse of Strahd campaign that was planned for 5 years in one session, all because a player wanted to play a gunslinger. First off, don't automatically assume that other people will know if you have an issue with something in-game, unless you actually tell them, especially when the DM is asking if anyone has any sensitive topics that they want to avoid. And if you don't feel comfortable stating it out in public, then let them know through private message or something. But I will also say this, some wiggle room can be made. Like if the gunslinger player was okay with changing up their character. It's really up to them at that point. But since the gunslinger player did not want to change their character, and the problem player did not let anyone know that it was a touchy subject for them, the problem player should at that point just bow out gracefully. It sucks, but that's what the planning portion of the game is for. TTRPGs can be great and all, but your mental health is more important. And yes, sometimes you might forget to list a trigger, or something comes up that you don't want to deal with during game. That's when you ask to take a 5 and sort things out. But in this case, it's kinda difficult because like OP said, the gunslinger player did not want to change his character, and it's also unfair to expect him to at that point. But when the problem player threw that tantrum and caused a scene like that, it was just childish, and I could see how it just put a damper on things for everyone. Like I always say, communication is key. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button if you want to see more content like this. And would you kindly follow the socials posted in the description below. As always, be good, be great, be awesome.